Hello YouTube! I haven't filmed for a while, like for a month or something. Was busy working and thinking about life, but today I really felt the need to film something and to talk to you about anything basically. But I decided that I will tell you about the book I've read recently. It was in English, so I thought the best follow-up for me would be to film a video about it in English. I like to think about myself as of a booktuber, and I usually film my book reviews in Ukrainian. Lately I've been reading a lot of books in English and I really enjoy doing it, and I really enjoy reading books in language they were written in. I think this is an absolutely amazing experience, so without further ado, let's get started. The book I'm gonna tell you about is Here I Am by Jonathan Safran Foer. I believe this is how his name is pronounced. I never knew how to say it, but the book looks like this. It's quite thick and the letters are very small, so the book is huge. It's huge not only because of its size, the story itself is huge and it's complicated and it's very interesting to read, and it's also beautifully written. But let's start from the beginning. What is this book about? It's about the family. It's about the family of Jacob and Julia and their 3 sons, and the parents of Jacob and his grandfather, so it's a whole family story. Jacob and Julia are American Jews, and I would say they belong to upper middle class of American society, and it seems like they have everything they need in their life. They have a job, they earn enough money, beautiful house, a car, and from the first sight quite a good relationships inside the family. But as you read and as the story progresses, you see how unhappy they actually are and how many troubles they have inside their family, how many troubles and problems and worries, difficulties they have, each of them has, and how hard it is to live together and live a happy life. I would say the story mostly concentrates on the relationship between wife and husband, but it's also it tells quite a lot about their kids. They have 3 sons. Each of them is so different, and they are not an ordinary kids, I would say. They are quite smart and funny, and they also experience a lot of difficulties growing up, as all the teenagers do. Sometimes the things they say, they absolutely blow my mind, and they act sometimes like grown-ups and they sing like adults. So yeah, it was very interesting to read, also from the perspective that I liked observing the life of these 3 kids. The story also tells about the relationship between Jacob and his family, especially with his father, their relationship with his grandfather. So the story has a lot of layers, and as I said, it's beautifully written. I liked reading it so much, and I like the way the writer writes and how interesting he sometimes expressed the feelings of his characters. Although it was quite hard to read in the beginning, for me as a non-native English speaker, I struggled a lot, I must say. It was like the 30th page or something like this, and I thought, no, I can't do this anymore, it's too hard. I had to make an effort to continue, and as the first 200 pages were behind, I started reading it very fast. The story began to develop very fast, and yeah, I really enjoyed it in general. It has a lot of time hops, and the storyline is a bit twisted sometimes, so there were a lot of unexpected turns of the storyline. This is what I like about the books, when they are unpredictable and when they can amaze you with each page. So many amazing quotes can be taken from this book. If I wasn't a lazy human being, I would basically write down half of the book, because it's written with the soul and it's written with a talent. I think this guy really has a talent for writing. Also, I forgot to mention that he is the author of Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, and also Everything is Illuminated. Two books you probably heard about because they are quite popular, and there are also movies that are based on these books, so maybe you heard about them. And I heard about these books, but I've never heard about this one, and then my sister gave it to me and said that I should read it. And I was quite scared because it's so big. Also, it's quite small. I mean, it's easily transported in the bag, and I was like, should I really do it? And I was actually preparing myself to read it for months or something. I was like, yeah, I will do it next week. I will start. And finally, I just felt like it's time, and I read it. No regrets. Although I might be too young for this book, I must say, because I've never been married, I don't have any kids, so some problems are quite distant for me. I can't really relate, but there are a lot about relationships in the family in this book, and this is what everybody can relate to, I think. It's always like this, family is complicated, so his characters are also quite complicated, but they are also very interesting. It's about the relationships between parents and kids, between kids and parents, between kids. And yeah, I found a lot of moments where I saw my family, for example, and in the characters sometimes I saw myself. After you read it, you have a lot of things to think about it. The book is quite sad sometimes, but it's also quite funny, so it's like this mixed feeling you have when you read it. There were a lot of good jokes. Well, this is what I really appreciate. But there also were times when I really wanted to cry because, I don't know, I was so sad about what's happening there, and yeah, I felt quite depressed. Overall, I would say this book is about family, but not only about family, but also about the identity, about finding yourself in this world. It's more about Jacob, the father of the family, who often thinks about religion, about his nationality, about his identity, about the Jewish culture. Jewish culture and Jewish customs and traditions are a big part of this book. As you might already know, I really like reading about different countries, about different cultures, and I think this really helps to make your horizon wider and to see the world in a more complete form, just to find out more about the world that we live in. Because if we only read American or British books, it's very narrow understanding about how things in the world work. So yeah, if you read this book already, let me know in the comments if you liked it or not. Was it complicated to read? And what did you like the most? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next videos. I hope it will be very soon. Bye!